Life of love. Life of love. With Joy Hilson.
Hello, dear friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of Life of Love. We're so happy to have you, and we're going to share some inspiration, motivation, and abundance today. We have a special guest. His name is Bill Heinrich. He's a businessman, entrepreneur, turned feng shui student, astrologer, numerologist, and a spiritual teacher. His program for coaching divine purpose and many other programs have been transformational. And I'm just so excited to have him and have him share his wisdom with us. He's been on a journey and has lots to share. So please welcome Bill. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you very much. I'm really thrilled to be here, Julie.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure. I know you've been traveling and seeing the whole country. So I know that you learn something everywhere you go. So I'm just really excited to see what comes forth in this episode. I want to just ask you a question because I think it's going to segue into, usually I say, hey, tell the audience about yourself. But I think that I was guided to ask you this question first.
Great.
So, many people have various memories and experiences on the beaches in Mexico, but you have one that spurred your spiritual growth. So tell me, Bill, what happened on that beach in Mexico?
Wow. Now, nobody's asked me that question. That's really good. After I walked away from my life, almost 30 years ago, about 5 months after, I went and did a 90-day sojourn down to Mexico, lived on beaches by myself for 90 days. And the biggest thing that happened, many things, many things, but the thing that happened more than anything else was I connected to my universal wisdom. I connected to my psychic abilities. One of the things I did is I went in this used bookstore before I left. I was up in Lake Tahoe, bought these books. Oh, that looks good. I'm going to be on the beach. And one of them was about automatic writing. So one morning, as I'm sitting on the beach above San Jose del Cabo, and the sun is coming up over the Sea of Cortez, and my coffee's cooking on the stove, and I saw that book. I said, I'm going to try automatic writing. And so I did. Wow. And all of a sudden it just took off. And I don't want to, I've got so many other more interesting things to talk about, but the thing that happened is his guide showed up and he told me I was going to go fishing. And I said, I'm not going fishing. He said, oh, you're going to go fishing. You're going to catch a big fish. Right. I had no plans to go fishing. I said, whatever. And I drank my coffee. I said, well, that's pretty funny. That night I went into San Jose del Cabo. I'm walking down the street and this guy steps out of a building. He says, hey, we need a fourth for a fishing trip tomorrow. Do you want to go? And I was like, sure. And I met him and we went. And so there was four of us, and because you partner up on these deep sea fishing things, I was fourth in the seat, as they call it. You take turns. And so the third guy's in the seat, and he's sitting there. We've been out for a while. Nobody really caught anything. He said, hey, I want to catch a tuna. If I get a strike and it's a marlin, you can have it. And 5 minutes later, I caught a 150-pound marlin. Right. And so that was the beginning of what is now a journey that I live from the other side of the physical, that I live just in the non-physical. I only live in the non-physical and just let everything appear in the physical. So it led to learning I'm an energetic empath, the wisdom that I have. It just kind of goes on and on and on. So that was what happened on that beach.
My mind is spinning, and I'm thinking of the symbology of a fish and that huge size of a fish. And you couldn't have any doubt, right? The universe was just like, here's your path. You're gonna do this, and you're gonna get slapped in the face with a fish. I can't imagine what would have happened if you had ignored it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I didn't know what to think of it until it was all said and done. I was like, so that's how easy it all happens. And that's the answer.
Well, I mean, it wasn't easy because you created the space. You're like, I'm going to go and I'm going to go on this sojourn and I'm going to be by myself. And then you brought in the automatic writing, and you were being a blank canvas, but huge, right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and there's been many more things since then. So it's, my life is full of miracles. But a miracle is just an unexpected event with a positive outcome.
What did you say? Miracle is an unexpected event with a positive outcome?
Yeah.
And it's not something that we can plan. It's unexpected. It just appears. I love it.
It's something you can expect. You can't plan, because when you're planning, then you're in limitation.
Mm-hmm. And that's what you were talking about. I saw it, that clarity, or, you ask for clarity, but that's not the gift. Mm-hmm. The gift is the murky that you're not sure, and you're going to discover it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have no murkiness anymore. Mm-hmm. Zero. You can't have murkiness when you're in the present moment.
So, yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you about, is that I know that a lot of people struggle with their time, and they want to have a spiritual journey, but the idea of how do I make time? And it's like how to fit it in. And I noticed that you have a time mastery class.
I'll tell you this. People don't understand spirituality. And it's really very simple. Spirituality is who you're being. We are human beings. Everybody's into human doings. And the problem with it is, here's the way life works. We're born perfect. We get slapped on the ass and everything goes downhill from there. And all we're taught is survival. And it's all focused on our physical life, and it's all focused on social policing, expectations, obligations, everything given to us as we grow up so we can learn our lessons. And I've been doing this. I've been working with people, coaching people, executives and CEOs and regular people all around the world for 15 years. And it's all the same thing. Number one, there's 38 different life lessons paths. What does that mean? That means everybody has life lessons, and they're very complicated. They're very complicated because it's just from when you look at it from the physical, well, you can't even see it because you have a complete blind spot. So, like, if you give me your date of birth, I can tell you all about your life lessons and what's going on in your life. Like, boom, like that, right? And even when I tell people, they go, yeah, well, I'm not sure. Well, it's because they have such a massive blind spot and can't see it. And these life lessons come in the area of creativity and confidence, cooperation and balance, expression and sensitivity, freedom and discipline, stability and process, vision and acceptance, trust and openness, abundance and power, and integrity and wisdom. So there's many, many different combinations. But when you see what they are, these are where all of your issues come in the physical. Because you're walking in, what you're doing is you're going through life with a blindfold on, making decisions based on who you aren't, not who you are. Because your decision's outside of you. So the first thing everybody has to understand is the boundaries of your ignorance are so narrow, it's laughable. It's absolutely laughable. Yet people think, oh, I've got it figured out. Well, what they've got figured out is the life that they're living. And then what happens is they use their mind And their mind and their ego can only protect them in their life. It can't do any more than that, because all it does is research the past and warn you of danger. So you're always doing things out of protection. That's life in the physical. Our physical life is about lack of clarity, work, and suffering. That's it. That's all you're ever going to get out of your physical life. Your spiritual life is about love and expansion. So they're the antithesis of each other. Now, when we look at it, Julie, there's only two emotions, love and fear. That's it. Everything stems from there. In the physical world, you can't have an emotion without a story. Let me repeat that. You can't have an emotion without a story. So what happens is people walk into an environment. Our subconscious makes the decision for us 6 seconds. It's been scientifically proven 6 seconds before we supposedly conscious make the decision. It's already happened based upon your past. I mean, this is scientifically proven. This causes people to go into reaction, to protection. Fear comes in. The favorite radio station in the world, WWIF, and what's in it for me? That's what everybody's really concerned about. On the other side, your heart can't generate fear. Let me repeat that. Your heart cannot generate fear. It can feel it, but it can't generate it. Your heart can only generate love. And that's your connection to all that is. Mm-hmm. So we have two operating systems, and we live in two dimensions. The operating system that everybody uses in the physical dimension, what we call our life, is our mind. But your mind cannot come to the present moment. It is not possible. Your mind can only access the past, and it can only protect you. If you want to live a powerful spiritual life, you must learn how to come to the physical moment with your heart. To come from a place of love for the benefit of all involved, regardless of the outcome. Regardless of the outcome. What's going to happen in physical life is going to happen. It's how you react to it that determines the vibration you operate at. The universe runs everything. Everybody thinks Earth is it. I just heard this thing the other night that just blew my mind. It blew my mind when I heard this because it's so simple, but it's so true. There's a saying, maybe you've heard it, you can't read the label on the bottle from inside the bottle.
Brilliant. That illustrates what you said about our consciousness, our awareness is so limited as to what our abilities are, where we're operating from.
Exactly.
I love that. I love that. That just brought us back to how narrow-minded we are.
Right.
That is cool.
It's insidious how narrow-minded people are and how they protect themselves. The universe is only a vibration. Everything in the universe is a vibration. That's me and you. We are one. We are connected. We are all a vibration. Everything in the universe is a vibration. So if you want to live a powerful spiritual life, you must learn to connect to universal wisdom and detach from the fear in physical life. Now, here's the thing that really blew my mind the other night was this, is I was watching this show on infinity with these scientists, right? Here's what the scientists said, and I love this. I was like, wow, that is so cool. They said, we know Earth. We can get above Earth. We can see Earth, but we can't do that from the universe. We're on the inside of the universe looking out. If we could get on the other side of the universe, we could explain it to you, but you can't because the universe goes to infinity. So the being in the bottle trying to read the label is what's happening, and everybody's focused on their physical life, and it's all about how do I get to death safely? That's what people are focused on.
So I just had an insight, and tell me what you think. There's so many programs that run, and we've been taught so many things that don't serve us. But one of the things that occurred to me is that when we're taught about our five senses in preschool, it's all related to our heads and how our heads are processing those five senses. But what if you went into the world and said, I'm going to smell this flower with my heart. I'm going to see this person with my heart.
Right.
I mean, have you ever done that exercise where you try to register all your senses, not through your head, but through your heart? Is that something that would be helpful to people? I mean, I was just contemplating that when you were talking about, how everything gets registered through the brain, and that's our fear factor, our ego, our limitation.
I only do everything through my heart. I don't participate in the physical world.
You observe it. You're part of the audience, not the actor.
I'm here. I'm the observer. I can get on stage anytime I want. Every now and then I do. I'm still having a human experience, but the moment I'm there, I realize it and I can step off and say, what's for the benefit of all in this particular situation?
And then just understand and have compassion. Like when you're realizing you're activating someone or they're activating you, that's all part of the oneness of what we're here to do. Like have compassion. Like sometimes you have to show up as someone it's not your ideal situation, but we just borrow that role. And you can say, I don't want to be there again. How can I show up differently? But have compassion. That was your path.
You talked about someone activating another person. Okay. That doesn't happen. You activate yourself.
But don't you think, I mean, I'm just devil's advocate here. Don't you think you have to go through that experience to know that's not where you want to be? I mean, you were activated your first 25 years before you became aware, or 40 years?
40 years, 40 something years. Well, I wasn't activated. I lived my life in reaction. My entire life was in reaction based upon protection and based upon the fact that I had extremely low self-esteem. And if you knew who I was, you wouldn't love me. So I got my love by being a chameleon and getting people to like me, but it was artificial. And there was nothing inside me. See, the thing about this activation of other people, okay? Let's talk about that for a second. Okay. You can play one of two roles in life. You get the choice. Okay. You can play the victim or you can come from your power.
I agree.
Everyone plays the victim because they look outside themselves. Now, the moment you look outside yourself at somebody that's causing a problem, that is not true. There is no problem. The problem is in your head. The problem's inside you. You're the one that conjured that up. You're the one that's creating it. So when you're creating that problem outside of you, you're taking all of your power and handing it to that problem. And now you take the victim role. If you don't have power, you're in the victim role. Anything that comes into my life, I create, and I'm responsible for. And I will choose how it will get handled. Anything. We got rear-ended 6 years ago coming home at night by a drunk driver. First thing was, how did I attract this? How did I create that in my life? The universe is trying to tell me something. That's all I wanted to know. I mean, the guy was drunk. He went to court. They did all their stuff. I had whatever. I just let the attorneys handle that. All I wanted to know is what's my wake-up call? It wasn't like, oh yeah, that drunk and and then you go on for days and talk about it. In fact, the next morning, my partner and I were sitting there and we just said, we're never going to speak about this again.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not going back into that energy. I'm going to move forward with power. It happened. It's over. We were okay. The car was totaled. Whatever. There's some message in it for us. And so that's the way that I do life. That's the way that I teach my clients to do life. One of the very first things I teach my clients is to never make another decision in their life. I forbid them from making a decision. And they're like, what do you mean? It's like, well, how do you feel when you make decisions? Because the Latin word, the root word of decision is final. And the feelings that go with it are stress, overwhelm, fear, finality, all of that. When in fact, all you're going to do is get some clarity and make a choice. Mm. And you're going to own the choice. When you're making a decision, it's outside of you. When you make a choice, it comes from within. And when I make a choice from within, there's one thing that I know is very true. I can change that choice at any moment.
Right. You're not defending it because it's not your decision.
There's nothing final.
Yeah, it's just this fluid movement that you can pivot. You can make that choice for the highest good as it's appearing. That's very insightful. That's so helpful.
Mm-hmm. When people, they're just so stuck in the physical. Like the language that I use is language that can't be described in the physical. Like love. What does love look like?
Yeah, you can't. It's a feeling. It's subjective. And that's the beauty of it. There's no polarity to it. There's no decisiveness.
It's a manifestation. It's a manifestation. So if I ask you to go back to one of the most special moments in your life, you're going to go to how you feel, not what you were thinking. It's all about how you feel. It's the energy that you're generating, and it's how you're able to respond to anything that comes into your life. Because good mental health, if you want perfect mental health, then you understand that in front of me there are challenges that I am going to overcome and deal with, and there's others waiting for me. That's life in the physical.
Right, like you said, surviving till you die, or however you said that. That's life in the physical. It's doing your best till it's your time to move on.
Getting to death safely, rather than just living. And when you start living, we were talking earlier, I live in an RV, and it's been 4 years. It's gone. I had to think about it when you asked me. It's just gone by so fast because I just live in the flow. So it isn't about going out with accomplishments like goals, for instance. They're a no-no. Never make goals. Why? Because a goal is something that you fix your attention on, and where your attention goes, you go. And with a goal, your language, control, manipulation, everything is going to be directed for you to satisfy your expectation with that goal. So what you're doing is abandoning yourself in an attempt for some material benefit.
Yeah, and validation. That material benefit is your validation that you reached your goal.
And validation.
Yeah.
And all those things. But when you have intentions and you support them with the proper energy, they just show up. They just show up, but you have to be open-minded. In fact, this is actually pretty funny. Here's a great example. Me on podcast. Okay. I've upgraded my coaching program. I've hired a coach myself and been focused on specific areas. One of the things that came up in the course of working with her, first of all, there's a few other people in this group with me in this little mastermind, and they're all folks, yeah, I'm going to do this. And they're all just working so hard. I'm like, I am not going to work that hard. That's crazy. Oh, you got to do all these posts. You got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. It's like, no, I don't. I can just sit here and attract it. I have to be open-minded, and I have to listen to my heart. And one of the things that has come out of that is me being interviewed on podcasts, and I'm starting one. And as of the first of the year, I'd never done any podcast interviews. I now I think I've done 70 this year.
Since January of 2023? Mm-hmm. You've done 70
interviews.
You're busy.
I'm
but
very busy.
It must be rewarding because it's not your goal to do 70.
I can do them all.
You're just like, I'll just talk to somebody. I'll just get on here and share.
I've got another 70 booked.
Yeah.
No, I can just, yes. I'm about empowering others so you can go empower others. So my mission is to get this truth to as many people as possible. Because in our physical life, there's only one thing that's true. There's only one thing. And that is how you feel. Nothing else is. Everything else is subjective to your past experience. And everybody's seeing something different, and they're having different experiences simultaneously because of the way we were raised.
Mm-hmm. And how you feel is in the present moment. It brings you back to the present, what you can pivot to, you can respond to. And it's the only way you can connect with another human being. You can't connect intellectually. You can reach agreement, but there's no connection in agreement. The connection comes from the heart and the ability to share what people call intimacy, but that's talking about feelings. So if I talk to you, about sadness or joy, we can connect on that level because we've experienced that, but the stories are different. It hits differently. Everyone is your past experiences, everything that you're going through internally, the galactic, everything is going to hit everyone differently. So that's so, like you said, it's empowering to know that it's just a connection. And that's my big message is you're perfect. You're a divine being just by being here. Just being here, you're enough. The number one thing, there's only one thing wrong with the universe that I've found. And I'm certain of this. And you'll probably never guess it. I'm dying. The one thing, the one thing wrong with the universe is your perception of it. It's limited. That's just the way we signed up for this. We signed up to be in this, absolutely. This suit. The universe is perfect. Well, I call it a milk carton. Yeah. The day you die, your milk carton stays, your energy leaves. Take a look at it. Everything you have is going to go to somebody else when you die. But everything you are stays with you for eternity. Right. And with everything else, it's all connected. And it's just an energetic value. When someone leaves Earth, the energy leaves. When they come in, the energy comes in. Yeah. And that's what happens. I saw it when my grandmother passed. I saw her energy flare up into the sky. I was riding up the hill to her house. I was a grown up. I didn't have a car because I was out of town, and I just grabbed my mom's bike because she lived down the street, and I knew my grandmother was dying, and I just woke up with a jolt. I got in on my bike and I started pedaling up the hill, and all of a sudden I saw this blast of light, and that was my grandmother's soul. That was her energy. And when I saw her body, it wasn't the same thing. No. It was her empty milk carton. It's nothingness.
it's nothingness. Yes, I've been with a number of people that have transcended. It is a magical
It was
experience.
so cool. I was trying to tell people, and I was like, they're going to think I'm crazy. Like, I mean, but it was a blast, and it was, her energy's still, obviously, she's still, everyone's energy is still accessible. So that's
I have a much better relationship with my parents now because they're free of limitation. They're free of limitation.
And they don't have that protection over you, that you can be how you are being, how you need to be, because you don't have to worry about their approval or disapproval or them trying to sustain you, because, you know, we want our youth, our offspring, to do well. I mean, that's just it's part of this whole thing.
Everybody, you know, one mistake everybody makes is we all think that everybody else thinks like we do when we see life, right? But everybody's different. There are no two people that are the same. And if you will only appreciate where someone's at on their spiritual path and their uniqueness, you don't have to approve of it. You don't have to participate in it. But you don't get to judge it. Because anything you judge, you are. You can't judge anything that isn't inside of you. It's impossible. When you do that, you're free to live, and you're free to connect via vibration, because like attracts like. And it's vibration that does that. The fascinating thing about energy is, and it's funny because like I can move a lot of energy. You know? I mean, I can go into a room and take it over with energy without saying a word, just my presence, right? And then people come to me. I don't have to go to people; they just come to me. They're attracted because you can't block energy. You can resist intellectually, you can disagree, but you can't block energy. Energy is energy, period. An energy of love is an energy of love, and it's for the benefit of all involved. You can't block it. Now, you can be repulsed by it, but that's when your mind comes into play. And it's just, people are just living life the wrong way. It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And I've worked with hundreds of people, and I show people how to live their life purpose. And my awareness and the tools that I use are so powerful that I give a 100% guarantee on success for them. Money back. Let me repeat that. No questions asked, money back, guarantee. No one's ever asked for their money back. Because once they connect with themselves energetically, when they connect with their divine gifts, we all have 7 divine gifts that flow through our chakras: divine compassion, divine creation, divine order, divine healing, divine authentic self-expression, divine truth, and divine power. Divine power through the crown, divine compassion, the base one through the root. These are these energies are who you are, but you don't know that because you were born and brought into physical life and immediately told, no, you can't do this, you can't do that, and you had blind spots. And so what you do is you step into a life of survival without even knowing it, and spend your life there protecting yourself in that life of survival. Thriving is using universal resources. It's attracting people with a vibration. It's knowing that the universe will provide. The universe is amazing. I walked out the door. I left everything behind. I took nothing with me. Everything, just the universe just kept putting things in front of me and taking care of me. It was a remarkable experience. remarkable. And now I live a very minimalist life, very minimalist, because I don't need stuff. Stuff is just obligations you have to protect.
Right, right.
That's all it is.
Just absorbing your energy.
Mm-hmm. 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 And your energy is never static. If you look at it like from a place of sports, you're either using energy or building energy at all times. And what everybody's doing in survival is just draining their energy. Because there's no fulfillment in it. Oh, they have a nice house. They have a nice, I get these people all the time, and I don't care how difficult somebody's life is. I can show you how to turn it around like that, because I make very complicated things simple really quickly. When you look at it energetically, you can do that. When you understand energy, you can do that. When you're attached to the physical, you're going to have a life of suffering. That's it. Guaranteed. Because you'll never find fulfillment there.
It's just so wonderful. And I hope that this is hitting people the way it serves them, because it's not apathy. It's connection to your soul. It's connection to the spirit. And we do have I've been playing with this idea, and it just keeps coming back to me that we don't even have our own soul. It's a collective soul.
Right.
We think that we have this soul purpose, but when you say soul purpose, it's how you're in this with everything else. That takes away your container.
Mm-hmm. You have a life purpose, and your life purpose sits on the other side of your life lessons. And if you don't know about your life lessons, you're never going to touch your life purpose. And everyone listen to this. Your life purpose is not what you do. Your life purpose is not what you do. It's the energy you do everything with. Everybody, oh yes, I do this. This is my purpose. No, it isn't. Your purpose is to be of service from a place of love for the benefit of all involved. And we all each have a very, very, very fine line of a dharma of what we're here to learn and do. And when you touch that line, as Rumi said, you have this special purpose, and every human being has a desire in their heart for your purpose. That's when you know you've connected. Everybody's different. And everybody's perfect. They're right where they're supposed to be.
And trust.
They're right where they're supposed to be.
Trust that.
Whether they're sleeping under the bridge or they're miserable in their multi-million-dollar estate, they're right where they're supposed to be. And there's answers, but you will not find the answers that are going to bring pure joy in the physical. It's impossible. You will experience it in the physical, but it must come from the non-physical. It must come from the non-physical. And there's just one of the sayings, I know you've heard this for years, but just look at the relevance of it. People will never remember what you said, Julie, but they'll always remember
how you made them feel.
Hello.
Yeah.
It's a vibration. Mm-hmm. And it's that vibration that you connect with. That's why they'll never forget it.
And that comes back to your signature vibration. You have your position, and that's why it's important for you to show up authentically. And the way you know you're authentic is you're feeling the feelings that you're feeling in the real moment without judgment, just feeling them and coming at it through a heart center.
And you've learned enough so that you'll never abandon yourself again, because this is what everybody does, is they abandon themselves because of external pressure, external peer pressure.
Well, it's the feeling that you're going to be safe if you comply. If you conform, it's the whole consent.
It's fear-based.
But people don't understand they've consented to that fear-based idea.
No, they understand that.
Yeah.
They don't understand they have a choice.
Okay. Well, that to me, that's implied with consent, is that you had a choice, but we're unconsciously consenting.
There, look at it. Here's the truth about life, okay? My life is completely out of control, and yours is too. That's the truth.
Mm-hmm. It's how we react, not react, respond. It's our each choice. Are we coming from a place of, I want to show up at the highest place that I can? I'll say, show me the highest good in the situation. I'll say, how can I have this day? How can I spend this day for the highest good? And some days it's just, getting through the day, and some days it's magnificent. But I just have to accept that that's what's coming at me, whether it's in my chart or in my gene keys. And, it's like these. In
fact, yesterday, something happened that's never happened to me before. And it all happened yesterday morning. Every appointment got canceled on my calendar.
Spring fever is real this year. I don't know.
And I was like, what the hell is going on? And then I had just switched phone carriers, and my phone didn't work.
What is that, your third house, communication? Is that the third house?
Well, communication would be the throat chakra, yeah.
But I was thinking the astrology, like the house.
Oh, yeah. I'm not... I have familiarity with astrology, but it's not an area that I've chosen to really take it deep.
I'm trying to recognize when those things happen. So I'm like, oh, well, I just, I'm just gonna have to go through this phase. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
It really, it doesn't matter. That's just what was happening. And so I took care of things, and it was noon, and it's like, I got the rest of the day off. Like, I'm not hanging in this energy. I've got other things I can go do. I'll be active. I'll change my energy and end up having a great day. And that's exactly what I did. That was my choice. You had mentioned reaction. Reaction's a fascinating word, because if you take the C out of it, drop it on the front.
Creation.
Yeah, creation. There's your power, is in creation. We can create anything we desire. My whole focus is just strictly on how people can live with more joy and be a blessing in other people's lives here on earth. That's all I care about. Where we go after, where we came from, I can get into some long, deep metaphysical conversations about that, but frankly, I really don't care. I now know there is a heaven and hell, and it's right here. Right here, right now. And you get to create it.
Mm-hmm. And I think people can be single-minded in that. They say they have to visualize it. Sometimes it's a feeling. If you're not good at picturing it, feel it. Feel how it is. You don't have to know.
There's no knowing to know.
Right.
Because I work with energy, because I work with feelings, I know where I'm at. I know what vibration I'm at. And I know that when I'm in this vibration, I can ask the universe a question, and it will answer any question that I ask. and it will come to me very, very clearly. But it's because I'm detached from the physical, because I will allow it to come. I'm not going to compare it. I'm not going to measure it. I'm not going to judge it. I'm just, oh, okay, great. See, energy is just energy. Think about it. A vibration is just a vibration. There's no logic. The universe uses no logic. Like attracts like, and the universe is in a constant state of expansion. Now, if anybody doubts that, just look around you. Since your time on Earth, there's nothing but expansion going on around us everywhere. The universe is in a constant state of expansion. You can participate in that, but you can't participate in it fixed on the physical, because then you're in a state of limitation. You know, when somebody says, here are my goals for next year, and I'm like, well, that's a joke. You know, let's set an intention with the proper wording and see what shows up. Forget the goal. It's a lot more fun to move the energy and let the universe bring it to you. And when things show up,
and that's how the chakras are involved. And I'm sure you talk about it in your book, the seven keys.
7 levels of
Seven
truth.
levels of
direct
truth.
Path, a direct path to your life purpose. Yeah, it's available on Amazon.
I will put a link to it in the show notes. We're coming up on our time here. This has been enlightening. I'm not going to label it. It's just been, it's been enjoyable. It's been enjoyable, and I'll count it as a blessing. And I really hope that, you know, maybe the audience can listen twice, because there's so much that you transmitted here for us. And, you know, and the simplicity of it too. Live in the highest good with a heart of joy and service.
And, you know, that's a key for anybody that wants to live their life purpose. Your heart can only speak like a second grader. Your head is what's complicated. You ask your heart a question, that would be good. You go to your head, it's like, well, if we can get them to do this and we figure out that and I do this and you're like I say, the 3 worst words in my dictionary are, I was thinking, because I know I'm headed for trouble, right? You don't have to think. You just have to feel and make a choice and be responsible, and the answers are there.
It reminds me of Forrest Gump. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. So if you approach your day like, what kind of chocolate? What is this going to be? And it's a grab bag. Like, what's the universe going to show me? What have I put out there to receive back? And you know, it's powerful. And
it's exciting, and it's an opportunity for you to expand as long as you stop being defensive. When you're being defensive, you're protecting stories. Love has nothing to protect. Fear does. In fact, fear knocked on the door and love answered, but no one was there, because they can't coexist. It's impossible. Fear can't come to the present moment. It's impossible.
Love it. Well, I'm going to close on that statement, because I can't even say anything more. It's like, live in love, and the fear it can't be there. The vibrations it's not a match. It's not a match.
They can't occupy the same space.
Well, thank you so much, Bill, for all this. I really cherished our time together.
Thank you for having me on. It was my pleasure. I hope everybody hears something that brings them more joy in their life.
Me too. I know they will. And if you thought of someone during this, share it with them. You know, if they didn't like it, they can blame Julie in Life of Love. I'll take it.
It's all Julie's fault.
It's all Julie's fault. She's crazy. Thanks again.
Thank you.